it. I love it when she tell me I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. I wanna hold your body in the cold blue night. I wanna squeeze you in my arms and I hold you tight. Squat you in my love and in the blazing sun. I wanna hold you in my arms and tell you I'm the one. I wrote this song about Fanny. I wrote this song about the girl that I love. I wrote this song about Fanny. She's the one I can't get enough of. And all I think about is Fanny. And all I talk about is Fanny. And then I wake up it's Fanny. 'Cause I've been dreaming about Fanny all night long.
So welcome to this month's edition of Brewmance, joined by my good friend Iain McOustra, Amsterdam Brewery. Doing well? Yeah, good. We're doing an interesting brew today because we have Iain and Iain's particular set of expertise. We're doing a beer where we're brewing with just Brettanomyces, no standard yeast. In terms of home brewing, maybe this is something you've never done. It's certainly not the cheapest way of brewing a beer, but it's a pretty interesting process. This is going to take a while, right? Like, it's not going to ferment out in like 2 days or something, right?
Actually, 75% of the fermentation should be done the first 7 or 8 days.
Okay, but still, a longer fermentation than what you would get with a British ale yeast, for instance.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we should still have all the fermentation done within 3 weeks.
Cool, and so we're doing a pale ale, hopping it with Mosaic, which is American, and Galaxy, which is Aussie, is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so big shout out to Zach at Toronto Brewing, who connected us with the Mosaic, which is not an easy hop to get. And I don't know if the guy who gave me the Galaxy wants me to say his name because he has some and nobody else does. So to my West-Ended friend, thank you for the Galaxy. We literally couldn't have done it without you. And yeah, so we're going to be brewing, having a good old time, working with Iain. It's awesome having you, man. Thanks for coming out. He's building a brew pub right now, and so we really appreciate his effort being here. In fact, they're probably mispouring the concrete floors
It's not funny.
at the brew pub right now.
It's not funny.
So we were just talking about the recipe. We don't really have a recipe right now, do we, Iain?
Nope.
You have to face the camera if this is going to be videoed.
No, we do not have a recipe yet.
But we've got a pretty good idea where we're going, right?
No, not really. What's the plan?
This is compelling video.
Yeah.
That's how most recipes start. I don't use a drill.
Oh, bro, how do you not use a drill?
I enjoy the workout.
Okay. Wow.
Do you ever make Mandy do it?
What?
Do you ever make Mandy do it?
No.
That's generous of you.
I tried the drill that I have, but it didn't have enough torque, so it didn't get it.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What type of drill do you have?
A shitty cordless that was free from TV.
That was free on TV. That's
TV
fucking
Bank.
awesome.
TV Bank.
Nice.
You signed up for a checking account and they gave you a drill?
What?
This sounds like you're struggling a bit.
Good.
What water grist ratio?
What's that?
What's your water grist ratio?
Well, right now it's just 2.
Yeah.
I was going to boil off and get all the water under the screen. And stir it some more, and then we'll just go by feel.
What's our actual grain bill right now, fellas?
It's
50% two-row.
50% Vienna.
Iain McOustra, ladies and gentlemen, Amsterdam Brewing. What's your official title?
Head brewer.
Head brewer. And you got some exciting things going on at the brewery.
Yeah, lots of good stuff.
What are you working on mainly right now?
Just Brew Pub.
So tell me about that.
Should be open within 2 months, brewing within 1 from today, hopefully. And we're pouring the floors today, and putting in tiles next week, and equipment the week after. So
Wow.
yeah, we're looking pretty good.
Yep.
Really exciting stuff.
Killer patio.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Totally ridiculous.
900 people total. Not that just the patio.
Not quite that big, but it's close.
No, I thought I read that 900 people
Yeah,
total
it's
seating.
like 800 something, 860 or something like that.
Yes, it's pretty big. What are you drinking right now?
Space Invader.
And who made that?
I brewed it with Scott Stewart, who's going to be working with me down at the brew pub. It was mostly his idea, though. Mostly his recipe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else we should talk about? Mark Murphy's here, by the way, I guess.
Hi.
Yeah, that's a sneaky cup right there. It's not actually coffee.
Sneaky.
It's a sneaky cup. What's going on? I know what's going on with you, but why don't you tell what you couldn't say in the last episode?
I guess I launched my own brewery, Left Field Brewery.
Yeah.
We're 3 weeks old.
Nice.
Just getting started, really.
Yeah. Who's got the beer?
Tequila Bookworm was the first. Volo, Bar Hop, Burst.
So
Only
Milosh's got it.
Milosh now, yeah, and Imbibe.
Wow, cool. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, and big party coming up.
Yep, April 5th at 30:30. First time all 3 beers will be available.
Wicked. I've had all 3, and I'll tell you, they're pretty good.
Thanks.
Anything to add to that, Ian?
Yeah, I had a pint of the oatmeal brown yesterday.
Yeah.
Bar Hop. It's great.
Nice. Cool.
Really like slick body with really good flavors. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Sweet. And we're gonna be doing some beer tasting in a couple minutes, so you get to hear more of us dissecting beer. Dissecting? Dissecting?
Sure.
What are we doing over here, Mark?
We're mashing off.
Mashing off. Always sounds strange to me, that. Doesn't roll off the tongue, does it?
What temp you want up to, bro?
76-ish.
Ian approves of 76-ish. Highly technical measurement. Classic homebrew setup. 3-cut 50-liter kegs. Fabricated Brew Magic style stand. And a pizza box. Got some pizza pie, Ian?
Yeah.
Oh, very silhouette-y. There you are. What do we got today on the pizza pie list?
Jerk chicken, pineapple, cheese, banana peppers.
And I believe that was called Rob the Jerk Ford
Rob the jerk board.
from
Big House.
Big House Pizza, supplying the tasty munchies for today.
Yep.
Gonna see if I can do this. Oh, there's my lunch right there. Thanks, guys. Good looking pizza. All right, dude. So, unique thing about the beer today. What kind of yeast are we using?
Rep Brux.
Sorry, say that again.
Britannomyces Brux.
Red rum is what it sounded like you said. Okay, so talk to me about this. Brettanomyces, what is it?
It's a wild yeast. It's naturally found on fruit in vineyards, stuff like that. It's traditionally, if you tasted it in a beer, you'd think it was an off flavor, but we're going whole hog. It's our only yeast we're adding, and it gives off acetic acid. It's pretty sour, pretty funky.
Yeah, it was originally found in oak barrels. It was kind of identified when they were trying to pull out some of the different components of the old oak-aged British beers, and adds different things at different points. So, like if you use it primary fermentation, which is what we're going to be doing, you won't necessarily get as much funkiness as you would if you use it in secondary. The yeast kind of plows through the sugars and then kind of settles out. Whereas if you add it in secondary, it's like super attenuated, so it just keeps going and going and going. It's a bit different in primary. You have all different kinds too. Like you have the Lamicus, the Trois, and then you also have the straight Brett Brux. So Brett Brux is more horsey, kind of like more of a deep funk. So opposed to like citrus notes, and we can keep down the oxygen uptake. We shouldn't have too much sourness. That's more acetic kind of kicks out when it's got more oxygen play around it, like in barrels or something like that. So it could be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for it. I've done a few now, but I haven't really done any that are hop forward. So playing around with different hops too.
So some brewers are allotted to finish a beer. They'll use the first yeast. They'll let that be the primary yeast, and then they'll add bread to finish a beer and give off some funkiness. So this is our first hop edition. It's 6 grams of Columbus.
6 grams.
We're going for 10 IBUs.
It's not even a
this
dime.
Bad boy. So we just avoided a boil over, which is always good.
Kind of hard to see, but there's 6 grams of hops in there, ladies and gentlemen. Iain, what was the hop? Sorry, Columbus? Oh,
Columbus, yep.
yeah. Sort of a dinky amount of hops, eh?
No, the whole point's just a little bit of bitterness at this hop edition, but then you're going to get like the huge bitterness from more aroma actually than bitterness in the last 2 editions.
So you don't feel like your masculinity in the beer making world's been challenged?
Only by you, Chris.
Not much of a challenge. So this is more of the Space Invader that Iain and who made it?
It's more Scott Stewart's beer.
Scott Stewart's beer. Sorry, Scott, if you're watching this. My apologies. So tell us about it. It's Mosaic.
Yeah, it's all mosaic. Scott wanted to do an all mosaic pale ale. So, yeah, we brewed it. Pretty basic malt bill. Tons and tons of late hops. Huge dry hop. Pretty standard pale ale, bordering on IPA. Yeah. I get blueberry. I always get blueberry with mosaic.
I do as well, but a lot of people tell me that they don't get that.
Yeah,
They're wrong.
they're wrong.
So yeah, like I don't know, be beer tasters here. Like, Iain, you're BJCP, right?
Yeah.
Mark, you got any of that junk?
No.
Go ahead, talk about the beer.
I mean, it's got a bit of residual sugar bouncing up against the fruitiness of the hops. Lots of fruit. Lots of tropical fruit.
Pretty orangey.
Yeah, huge orange. Kind of like a biscuit malt finish almost. Nothing too heavy though. No crystal, which is good. And I really like the finish. It's kind of like a grapefruit rindy finish. You know, it's got a nice drawn out, puckering, good finish that I dig in pale ales or IPAs. Kind of makes you want to go back for a bit more without being overly cloying or sticky. Yeah.
How's the green stuff smell?
It's good.
Funky?
It's good.
That is going in the video.
Yahtzee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Murphy.
Yeah.
That's the 1 minute hop edition. You get all the bag out?
It's all out.
So we got the bread here.
Yep.
This is that's a Juggo Brett. That's Brettanomyces sprixel from White Labs. And you guys were just talking about what temperatures and what the flavors are going to do. You want to talk a bit about that?
Sure. So basically with Brett, it's all about what temperature it ferments at. You don't want to go too crazy because it puts too much stress on the yeast cells. We're going to be over pitching. Obviously, we're not going to use this full thing, but we're going to definitely be fermenting a little bit warmer than you normally would. So like 22 degrees, I think would be best. That way we'll get good fermentation overall without stressing it out too much and possibly making a fermentation more short-lived.
And what sort of flavors is that going to pull out?
Well, in primary, it's going to be more like a layered thing. It's going to be more like you're going to have these slight sour cherry pie flavors going on. You're going to have a little bit of hoarseness, a little bit of funk to it, but it's really going to be more about just fermenting it out and giving it like another layer. It's going to be more about a slight dryness. Yeah, fermenting with Brett Brooks in primary is really interesting because it's kind of like a new field of it, and it does really offer different flavors overall that most people aren't used to in beers. So it's something you actually are going to have to look for when you try the beer. It's not just going to be like, wow, this is really funky. It's going to be like, okay, this is very different from anything I've normally had. So.
Is there much potential for disaster here? Is this like, it's a wild yeast, you guys said, you know? Can we
Yeah,
run-
actually, like the guy who runs White Labs, Chris, says sometimes it just doesn't work. So, yeah, I mean, there's always a chance, but I think we're going to be good. The wort looked really good, and it's a fairly simple recipe. We're not putting under too much stress with too high a gravity. That's going to help. Going to be able to control the temperature pretty well. That'll help as well. Yeah, and we can always add a bit more if we have to.
I'd say most homebrewers would be concerned about sanitation on the next batch.
Yeah, definitely.
You're racking with
Definitely.
you're racking those, so
No, you're just fully silhouetted, Mark. You're like, it's like witness protection program.
Awesome.
I remember when I was talking to Martin Zuber at from Hacker, and we were talking about Brett Brewing, and he basically made it clear if anyone ever brought Brett into his brewery, they would cease to exist.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true at all, man. Like we've got at least 25 barrels at the brewery that have bread in them. And we've done primary fermentation in the barrels with at least 10 of them. I think 12 barrels that were barrel fermented with Brett, and we've never had a single counter Brett in the brewery. Brett's just another form of wild yeast. If you can clean up your house yeast, you can clean up Brett. Lacto and PDO are very different, but everybody's kind of super paranoid about Brett, and we've never had an issue in like 2 years of pilot brewing or brewing with wild yeast. So I think it is kind of overkill. But on the other hand, if you're home brewing with it, that's a whole other thing. I mean, we have, 85C water whenever we want. We have great chemicals designed to clean everything up. So obviously, if you are home brewing, use different hoses for sure.
All right, Mark, we're getting ready to chill. Is that the technical term for what we're going to do?
sure.
We're going to talk about this. We wanted to talk about this last month, but for those who watch at home, you'll know we never got to the point of chilling. We actually chilled it by simply chucking it on the front lawn, which was effective because it was
There's
snowing.
nothing to chill.
Nothing to chill. So, but what are we looking at here? This is like a hose?
Yeah, this is well, I guess, but this is my heat exchanger. It's a 3/8 outer diameter copper coil. It's 25 feet long. Inside a 1/2 inch inner diameter rubber hose.
Yep.
So the beer comes out of the kettle, inside the copper coil. At the same time, cold water comes in the other direction.
Yep.
On the outside of the copper coil, but within the hose. And that's where the term counterflow comes from.
Yep. And so chilling the beer down to pitching temperature
Yeah.
in an efficient manner, right?
Yep. So from 100 degrees Celsius down to 20.
And these actually, I mean, you can purchase these at retail. They're not cheap, right?
No, and there's a lot of options. You could do immersion, you could do counterflow, you could do plate and frame, stuff like that. But I just like this because you can sanitize it at the end of the boil just by running hot water through it. And it's really no fuss. It's really easy.
Cool. Awesome. It's a good project. Easy for a would-be homebrewer to do, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Just you can read up on it online. Sourcing the materials isn't too hard.
It's like Home Depot stuff, really.
Yeah, and then I built it in my living room.
I bet your wife loved that.
Yeah, just lube up the rubber hose with some suds and it fits right in there.
So in the finest left field brewery, joking, we're pitching the Brett. It's a good bit. And that's it.
That is it.
We leave it the rest to St. Arnold and the gods of brewing.
Yep. As soon as we can find a cap. We're worried about that.
Well, it's a wild ferment, right? Maybe we
No,
can.
it doesn't. No, you still have to be sanitary, man. You don't want anything but the bread in there, right?
When you guys were in earlier and I was out here on my own, I coughed on it. Is that okay?
Nope.
No? So it's not a Brett and Chris beer?
Nope.
Mark Murphy with the
Those guys on
Water
that
cock.
design show.
It's the watercock, traditional homebrew gadget.
Yep. Now it's funny because we're making all sorts of inappropriate jokes here. This is the watercock. You don't use a blow off tube for this. You use a watercock.
Well, I could use a blow-off tube. I'm just, I know they're fermenter. It's a 6-gallon fermenter, and I usually add 5, so there's usually enough headspace. But
Plenty of room for head. You don't need a blow off tube.
Right.
Just the watercock will do.
Wow.
Iain McOustra, ladies and gentlemen. Iain, you want to say anything about your experiences today? You have a good time?
Slightly ashamed.
We
No,
appreciate
it was a
having you.
blast. It was a great time.
Good. We loved having you. You and actually we didn't even really talk about this. Do you homebrew at all?
Yeah, totally. I'm actually part of a homebrew club, Swansea Homebrew. So yeah, I try and get with the guys in homebrew whenever the weather's better. It's a little cold out today.
What do you like to homebrew?
We recently did a Stinger Mild. That was pretty awesome. Did a bunch of Imperial Stouts and yeah, second runnings. Everything. Saisons. Saisons are great during the summer. Yeah.
All right, so Mark Murphy, exciting times, left field.
Exciting times.
Check it out on Facebook, right? Is the
Yeah,
website up yet? Getting
Website's
there?
up, yeah.
Website's up, so check them out. Iain, we'll see you at the brew pub with its
Hopefully
wonky
soon.
floors. I'm going to bring my level.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
Thanks for joining us, guys.